Well, good evening, YouTubers, fellow reloaders, tea aficionados, collectors, antiquers, restorers. What else? Tinkerers, handymen, handywomen, handy person. Tonight's video is about a bunch of stuff. Here on the bench. First, I'll start with this. I'll get this out of the way. Kudos to anybody who can tell me what this is for. Obviously, that's a hint if you can read it. But love to know if somebody in the comments section knows what this is for. That was today's Dross. So, this past weekend, which all of this ties into, more appropriate, this was this past weekend. 9/2/23/45. Zero problems. Somewhat of a problem, and that is due to a new lever action Henry Long Ranger. And I'm going to save that for another video because that is its own special video. That ruined the weekend in terms of shot number 11. So these, if you can count how many there are here, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe it was shot 12. It was either 11 or 12. And we'll put that off to the side as well. Needless to say, this came in quite handy, as did Kroll, if I'm even saying it right. Kroil. Different type of penetrating oil. Good stuff. Especially when you spill it everywhere. Good stuff. But tonight's focus is on 9mm. And these are two 9mm rounds that did not want to play nice. And I've been reloading 9mm for probably 12 years plus, 12-ish. And I started out loading 9mm on my Lee Classic turret. I still load 9mm on my Lee Classic turret, Lee LCT, sometimes. And, you know, for those people who bash Lee, you know, so be it. I don't have a single bad thing to say about it, about their product line. Not a Loadmaster fan, never bought it, read about it, but in terms of single stage presses, classic turret, other items, dies, I can't say enough about Lee. I'm a Lee fan. But I own a lot of different stuff. Anyway, 9mm loaded on my classic turret, never an issue. Never issue. The reason I moved over to the Dillon 750, dedicated to 9mm, maybe I need a little more tea. You shouldn't reload while you have tea. Well, I'm not reloading. So, again, never an issue. Nothing. Same thing with 45 ACP on the Lee Classic turret. So you have obviously D-prime, resize, powder, seating. Actually, let's go this way. D-prime, powder, seating, crimp. Same thing with 45 ACP. Never an issue. Never an issue. Fast forward to like 2013 when I picked up my lock and load. For the most part, never an issue on 45 ACP, but because of how I have that particular press rocking, I do not have a Lee factory crimp die. And there are people who love the FCD. There are people who hate the FCD. I happen to be one who loves the FCD. And I've also played with, and you see older videos, a undersized die for 45 ACP. Because I was having problems a while back with a Kimber Custom 2, I think it was. No, actually, I don't remember the model number. But anyway, it was something I picked up at a steel, and it wouldn't chamber my normal 45 ACP that I would not load on my Lee Classic turret, I would load on my lock and load. Again, don't have enough stations for a factory crimp, so it was it's either an RCBS or Redding combination die of seating and crimping, which again, if I could, I would always opt for a dedicated factory crimp, which is why I think the 10 station presses are a thing of the future, whether that's Frankfurt Arsenal or Apex or some other Mark 7, which I can't remember who bought. Did Frankfurt buy? I can't remember who bought them. Lyman bought them. Anyway, 10 station presses are the future. So, by the way, Lee is coming out with a, is it 6-station press, the Lee 6000, which is essentially the Lee Pro 1000, the 1000, 4000, which are the same thing, only a 6-station press, which should be a bit of a game changer for some. So you've got, a progressive press with 6 stations, because 4 is too few, 5 is not enough, 6 is better than 4 or 5. Anyway, I digress. So the solution to fixing my problem with chambering 45 ACP on that one particular Kimber was to run the rounds created on the lock and load through the Lee factory crimp. Never had an issue since. Done deal. We've been loading and shooting 9mm for a long time. Honey Bunch shoots 9. Well, my son recently picked up a fancy schmancy 2011 in 9mm. And we went out to the range this weekend. And that thing was choking left and right. So we took it apart and we did the barrel drop. And sure enough, some of these 9mm, I think these were 2 of them. I can't remember. I know one for sure. I was throwing stuff. I threw them in my CZ and the CZ ate them like no problem. Again, different tolerances on higher end guns is what I'll chalk this up to. Anyway, a couple 9mm wouldn't feed, so we did the barrel drop test, and he picked out a bunch that drop tested, and then he shot and zeroed his SRO, and everything was good. So I decided to come home and run these through my go no-go gauge. Well, I don't have a go no-go gauge, or rather a case gauge. Not so much go no-go, I guess you could call it that. I don't have a case gauge for 9mm because never had a need for it until now. So I decided to do 2 things. And again, if you recall, I wasn't a big fan of the undersized die for 45 ACP. So what do I go and do? I buy an undersized die for 9mm, which might be going back to the rainforest, because I'm thinking that running these through my factory crimp will solve all my problems. We'll see. So let us open. I love these little... Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll do this. Yep, oh, it is called a no-go. Go, no-go for 9mm. I usually use, I refer to go, no-go for primer pocket, but I guess we can apply that to case gauge. All right, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money. Oh, and this has a lifetime warranty, even cooler. So, and let me show you some of my go, no-goes. Here's one. This is an L.E. Wilson. I like them. This is a 300 blackout. What I don't like is how easy they rust because of the finish, even with a desiccant, and it's oiled. You can't feel it, but again, there's the fingerprints from the oil. That's a bummer. So I specifically looked for a go no go case gauge that had a little more knurling on it, that would be a little more robust, that could stand up to fingerprinting a little better than the L.E. Wilson. L.E. Wilson was twice as expensive as this. But so I did that on purpose for 2 reasons. 1, I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and 2, I was tired of how delicate and sensitive COVID. I mean cough. the finish was. I'll still treat this. I'll still oil it up, but we'll see. Okay, so there's the drop. So we're gonna see. Ah, lucky, lucky, lucky. Isn't that effed up? Let's see if this one. Yeah, so both of these did not want to chamber. CZs will eat these for lunch. And the reason I know this is because we've never had an issue with our CZs and 9mm produced on the Dillon. So again, my son was just grabbing 9s out of the bag. And I'm going to guess some of these will chamber like that. And some of them will not. Like that. And that's exactly what happened to him. He happens to own a higher end 2011 with a little tighter tolerances on the barrel. Isn't that fucked up? Look at that. So this is what happens when you reload and get old. So my reloads with my, whether that's RCBS or Redding, can't remember, on my Dillon, aren't doing such a great job on the, you know, it's a resize, and it's not doing so great on the spec, I guess is the right word. That sucks. So, what am I going to do? What I'm going to do before I bust out this undersized die and put this potentially on the Dillon press so that I don't have to deal with that, is I'm going to verify that if I put these two, and let me mark them so that you know, I know cheaty. We're going to run those through this factory crimp and see if that solves the problem, which it did for my 45 ACP. So when I load for 45 ACP, let me throw in primer. When I load for 45 ACP, what is that? That was 9mm, which is what, 19? When I load for 45 ACP on the Dillon, excuse me, on the Hornady, I take an extra step and I run all my rounds through my Lee factory crimp because I don't have a 10-station press. And the way I have my, all right, so I'm going to take this, which, black line, I'm going to run that through the Lee factory crimp. Whoops. What do we got? Powder, seating. The factory crimp. There's my line. And we're going to see, will this drop? Drum roll, please. It dropped better. It dropped better, but not perfect. The other one. Better, but not perfect. So, don't know what to say. Other than, you know what I'm going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to take one of these and we're going to produce it. We're going to take one of these and we're going to disassemble it. And then we're going to produce it all on the classic turret. So these were done on the Dillon. Again, this is not meant to bash Dillon. But anything to improve my the quality of my output. All right, so we are going to resize this and reuse the primer. And we'll take off my chute. Hopefully catch this primer. Murphy's Law says it'll be in the garage. There's the primer. Now let's see what our drop test looks like. Again, there's my stripe, which means I have a black stripe, a little bit left on the primer. Let's see what my drop test looks like now. Same. All right, so my factory crimp helped, but it looks like that's a problem. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make this video even longer. I don't want to mess with my current 9mm. So what I will do is pull out, hopefully my spare. Always keep a spare. I've had one of these break in my career reloading. So we will. And if memory serves, screw full length eye size into press until it touches shell holder and tighten the lock ring finger tight. Okay, so no quarter turn or whatever turn. All right, so here we go. Actually, what I'll do is I'll start the process. How clean does that look? Not bad. Not enough to worry about. All right, I'm popping this in the press, screwing it in until it touches the die. Now I'm going to finger tighten. I should bust out my little cute wrench, but this will be quick enough. All right. So that's what that looks like now. And we're going to see if this, with my stripe, will resize. But before I do so, I think I need a little tea. Yeah, that didn't feel like it really did a lot. Yeah, we're hitting the shell. Again, stripe. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, it didn't do shit. It didn't do shit. It did not do shit. So maybe this undersized die is about as useful as my my 45 ACP undersized die. And what I'm trying to do now double checking. I'm going to lower it more than they suggested. So I'm in about 1/8 of a turn in. Doesn't look like I damaged anything. Still not getting it. I wonder if that's like the bulge on Glocks, the Glock bulge. So I'm gonna tinker some more because I like to tinker. I'm gonna see if I can get this to clear. Nope. Longer video than I anticipated. Nah, it's not doing anything. Not doing anything. I'm playing with the depth of the die right now to see if I can get it to bottom out. And after all that, I don't think this is going to make a difference, which it didn't. So, valuable addition to the bench. I just took a random uncleaned. All right, so that's a nice one. So what we will do is clean that with my thumb. We will remove this bad boy. And of course the primer did go into La La Land because I didn't have this. All right, so where are we at? We will rebuild this bad boy. Another reason I love my turret. It is beyond versatile. All right, that's rebuilt. There's the striped primer. And let's see what our drop test is. We are golden. So that's a goodie. And I will do the same for this. But I'm going to say that I don't think this was worth it. Because it didn't do anything I couldn't do already with what I have. So this one's going back to the rainforest. There's just no reason to keep this. Kind of like my decision on the 45 ACP. I thought that was a bust as well on the 45 ACP undersized die. So we now know that the undersized die is kind of a waste of money in my opinion. But that's just it, my opinion. So that doesn't mean a whole lot. So, cool biz. This was 15 bucks. Everything else, 25 plus. And I like the knurling. So, that's a win. And now we will we'll toss that and we'll ensure that the stuff we're doing for 9mm on the high end pew-pews that are a little more finicky with probably tighter tolerances. I would call it a national match barrel. Is a little more finicky than, say, your CZs or your less high-end gun. It's not that you get what you pay for. It's that sometimes what you pay for is creates interesting challenges because sometimes. Why is it that when you put something back, it never goes back where it was? There we go. It's a crowded bench. There's a lot going on up in here. Expensive stuff is finicky stuff. It's kind of like, you know, would you rather have your everyday driver Porsche or your fancy Ferrari Lamborghini that breaks down every other day? To each his own. So that's a choice you have to make. So I think we are done for tonight. Cheers. Good night.